background?
Yeah, say hi. Come say hi. There's Rachel.
Yes. Yes, I am. Hello, Olivia.
Here you go.
There's Joe. Welcome.
Hello. Hello, hello.
There's Amy's video. And welcome, Jen Turner.
Jennifer Foley,
Yes.
I see you have a house for sale on in Coburg on Sutherland Crescent.
Yeah, is that your street?
My in-laws live there. They're about 4 houses down, and I was there today.
Ah, nice.
I'm like, hey, I know her.
Well, if you know anybody that wants to be your parents' neighbor.
There's Keith. Welcome, Keith and Lyle.
Hello.
On.
Here comes Big Dog.
Yeah. Are you trying to hide yourself, Pauline? There's Pauline.
Here comes our speaker.
Excellent.
Oh, did you want me to speak today?
Welcome, Todd.
Hey.
Hello.
Thank you for joining.
Video. There. Now you can see me.
Now we got
Hey,
you.
Todd, how are you?
Oh, I'm good, Joe. I apologize. I was supposed to be here at 6:55.
Not to worry.
I got stuck in traffic on the way to this meeting. I'm kidding.
Okay.
Just kidding. Just
What's
a joke.
traffic anymore, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. We're recording now, so I should be very serious now.
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
We're pretty laissez-faire here, Todd.
Not to worry.
So for Todd and the rest of our guests, normally we get started at about 3 minutes past the hour. We give the stragglers a few minutes to join before we enter into the program. So a bit of an informal chat time.
You have your stuff open?
No, I don't.
Okay.
It sounds like Joe's getting some
Yeah.
tech support there, so
Yes, he is.
perfect.
Open it.
Open right here.
No, the one that you just minimized.
Yes.
Yeah, no, the picture.
Now, can someone clarify if there's going to be a Q&A? I know we have 15
Yes.
minutes for the Q&A is after the
Don't
15
minimize
minutes, right?
But yes,
That's
yep,
right.
Yep,
Yeah.
Okay.
correct.
After our interview, Todd, we'll open it up for questions.
And roughly how much time do we have for the Q&A?
We kind of play it by ear. If you get lots of questions, Todd, and you're comfortable answering them, we don't need to cut them off. But you know, we kind of play it by ear. 5-10 minutes maybe, right? Most.
There you go.
Oh, okay. So it's a short thing tonight. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great.
Listen, if there's lots of interest, you know, we don't have any real boundaries here. It's not like a morning meeting where you know we've all got to get to work and stuff.
What's happening?
So
Why is it that way?
That's true. Yes.
It will when it plays.
Okay.
Okay.
If I hit play.
Okay, we're going to play. Okay, so
Just a minute.
hey, Joe, you're not muted.
Yeah, I can tell now.
you've got to mute me.
Hey, Phil.
It seems like Zoom likes to hang just until I get aggravated enough, and then it comes online and then post the last minute of what I said.
It's as long as it's not at that peak frustration moment.
Almost.
There's Leah. Welcome, Leah. And Ted's there too. Jen Turner, I said hello to you before, but you dropped and came back, so maybe you might not have heard me.
Do you
No.
need me anymore?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Phil, you guys did really well with that garbage pickup. Unbelievable, buddy.
Yeah, it was a lot of trash.
Sure
That's
was.
for sure.
So Todd, this is our evening meeting. We meet in the mornings, except the
Right.
last Thursday of every month. You had said that evenings were better, so I booked you for the evening meeting.
I
And,
appreciate it.
Yeah, we usually have about half our members come to meetings. It's, it's hard. People have busy lives, and so,
Mhm.
yeah. So we'll see how many more people show up. There were supposed to be a few guests coming, Steve. I don't know what happened.
thought, Joe. All right. Well, we are at 7:03, so we should probably get into the session right now and get things underway. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining our evening meeting on a Thursday, April 29th. Getting dangerously close to the end of the pandemic, I hope. More and more of us getting the jabs in the arm. Want to welcome a few of our guests. We have Todd Simkover on the line, and Joe's going to be doing a more fulsome introduction of him shortly. We have Ryan Spencer on the line, who's a prospective Rotarian. He's actually taking a look at a few different Rotary clubs around. He lives in Newcastle. Hello, Ryan. We have Terry Bately, I think, who's joining from either as a friend of Todd or from Autism Home Base.
Autism Home Base. He's got the thing.
Autism Home Base, yeah.
Oh, I wanted to say hi to who is the person from Autism Home Base?
Terry Batley. I don't know where you can see me.
I see you. Well, nice to
Okay.
meet you. I heard about you. Nice to meet you.
Oh, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Excellent. We also have Jen Turner trying to join. She seems to be having some technical problems, but she'll get in. I'm going to admit her again here. Jen is a returning Rotarian. Look, she likes the meeting so nice, she's joining it twice. And I think those are all of our guests just at the moment, although I'll keep an eye on things as people start to join. Let's start with a toast. First off, to Her Majesty, to the Queen.
Queen?
The Queen.
The Queen.
L'chaim.
To Canada.
Canada.
To Canada.
And Rotary International.
Rotary.
And Rotary International.
And special shout out, I guess, to all of the frontline workers, regardless of what field they're in, that are still supporting us as we get through this. In particular, everyone who's making things happen for the vaccines. And I'm going to include Keith Hill on that. Keith, you're on the call, aren't you? Keith is one of the guys responsible behind the Lake Ridge Health booking website. And by far easier to operate than the regional booking website. So well done, Keith. And
Thank you.
like you out there.
Thanks a lot.
So we had our invocation was to be done by Tim Function today. Tim's not able to make the call, but we've got a perfectly acceptable stand-in. Big Dog, Fred Mandrick, is going to do our invocation for us.
Yeah, good evening, folks. From Tim Function, who spent an hour and a half writing this the other night. He really thought it out. As we meet this evening for both service and fellowship, let us always strive to help others, whether alone or together. Let us be thankful for our health and good fortune and our ability to share both with others. Let us lead by example. Let us push for equality for everyone and search for peaceful resolutions to conflicts everywhere.
Well, thank you, Tim. Through you, Fred.
Yes.
Very good. Very good. Hey, Pauline, any birthdays, anniversaries, anything special to note?
Yes, President Steve. For some of our newer members, we have a very special member Rotarian. He's now an honorary member, but for 60 years, he had perfect attendance at our club. He was our president in 1966 to 67. And up until a couple of years ago, he attended every week, but then it just was no longer feasible. And Rotarian Bob Stevens is having his 91st birthday on May the 2nd. So happy birthday to Bob Stevens.
Happy birthday, Bob.
Happy birthday to Bob.
And we also get to celebrate this week, Lyle Gooden has 14 years of service above self.
Well done, Lyle.
Well done.
Excellent. All right, so that's it for special occasions today. Do want to call out, we've got Roy Snow back. He's been away for a few weeks, and you're looking like $1 million, Roy. So welcome back. It's good to have you. Okay, well, with that, let's jump into our program. Joe, would you like to introduce Todd to us, please?
I sure would. So when I first contacted today's speaker by email, I suggested we set up a chat and talk about his perhaps speaking at one of our meetings. But I never dreamed then that we talked for at least 2 hours. I think it was at least 2 hours, but that's what happened. I spoke again and we just couldn't get off the phone together. Spoke for another 2 hours. He's one of the most engaged people I have ever met, and I've learned so much from him, and I'm honored to have him speak with us today. I told him that and he said, "Aw, shucks." But rather than me introducing him, I'm going to let this video speak for him that he made. So here we go. I'll see if I can get this right. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Todd Simkover. I am an autism self-advocacy coach, consultant, speaker, and blogger, living both very successfully and proudly on the autism spectrum. Having overcome many autism-related struggles in employment, education, relationships, and other areas of life, I pursued a career in the autism services field over 20 years ago in order to empower others with similar life struggles. This passion inspired me to found Autism Self-Advocacy Services, which launched in 2018, and through a neuro-diversity modality envisions to empower individuals to find and use their voice to advocate for their needs and wants. As a former mentee of this very program, I have some advice, which is to first, to always be open to receiving constructive feedback. And second, and most importantly, to always believe in your full potential.
Well, that was Todd Simkover with the video he made. And what he was talking about, he was introducing himself as a mentor in the career development program at York University, a school where he earned a master's degree in disability studies. He was also one of the contributors to a mental health literacy guide for autism that was done by York and CAMH, which was just released this week and is the first of its kind ever published anywhere in the world. Well done with that, Todd. He's with us today with his own journey and about the importance of something called neurodiversity. That's a term that simply means a brain that is wired differently. So, Todd, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you. I was very moved by your warm introduction and your idea of using that video that I haven't seen in a few months. I didn't think it was as good as it was. So thank you.
Yeah, it was perfect way to introduce. You introduced yourself. So listen, I want to get into the questioning. And the first one,
yes,
this is something that it was actually you sort of threw this idea at me, and I'd forgotten about that conversation. You know, when I was a journalist, we were very conscious of the phrase when somebody was living with some kind of different condition, and we would always say a person with, you know, and whenever I wrote a story about autism, I always went a person with autism. But I've since learned that a lot of people who are in the self-advocacy field believe that the term should be autistic person, and that they support that. And I know there's a great debate. You think it should be autistic person. It's a small thing, but it's a big thing. So tell us why.
Well, first, I think it's an individual choice. Some individuals on the spectrum prefer to say people with autism, I think it's an individual choice how someone refers to their own difference. The autism community or self-advocates and proponents of the neurodiversity movement widely propose or prefer autism identity first language. So the argument that's generally made by proponents of neurodiversity is that unlike other types of disabilities, such as a physical disability, it's usually preferable to say a person with a disability for the most part to give emphasis to the person who has a disability. So you don't want to be saying the person or that person in a chair, meaning a wheelchair. You want to recognize the person, the humanity, and not think of, oh, there's the wheelchair and that's the person. So it's out of respect. However, when it comes to autism, the argument that has been made by the autism pride movement and neurodiversity movement is that the autism encompasses all ways of being. So it affects the entire experience. So not it impacts socialization, communication, your entire experience in life. So therefore, it is argued that autism is not part of you, part of me, for example. It is me. So I have since adapted, and now I say I'm an autistic individual, or I say a person on the spectrum. And the comparison I usually say is I am Jewish and I'm Canadian, but I'm not a person with Jewishness or a person with Canadianness. Or so that is the thing. I am Canadian, I am Jewish, I am autistic.
So you talked about the neurodiversity movement, and I was going to ask you this later, but I think I want to segue into it now. There's actually a flag for the neurodiversity movement, and I want to share it with people. And it's actually you at Nathan Phillips Square. You were there for well. You tell us what was going on there. That's the neurodiversity flag. What's going on? What was going on that day?
I believe that was June 18th, 2018, or something like that. And June 2018 was the first ever autism. So Autism Pride Day has been around for a while. This was the first time at the rotunda at Nathan Phillips Square that on top of Toronto City Hall, where the Autism Pride flag was raised. And a group, perhaps about 100 of us or so, of autistic individuals, those on the spectrum. It was organized by Autistics for Autistics, or otherwise known as A4A. And they had this flag raising event. There was some speeches, including a big, huge cake with the Autism Pride infinity symbol. And some people have assumed that I made a speech, but no, I didn't. Or I raised the flag. I didn't raise the flag. I just stood next to it before it was raised. So that was an incredible experience to witness and to be there.
So Todd, when we talk about Autism Pride, one of the people that I know that you're really proud to have been associated with and met, and you had asked me to ask you to talk about this, Temple Grandin. I don't know if people know who Temple Grandin is. There was a film made about her life. There she is right there. She is like an incredible, she's written many, many books. She's really advanced our understanding of the animal world. And she just came out with a book about why kids should play outside, why kids should be outside. Tell us what she means to you, Todd. Like she's And there was a movie made about her life. Great film. Tell me what she means to you.
Well, it will, if I were to give you the long version, we would be here all night. But the short version.
You met her, right?
Yes, I met Temple Grant 3 times on her, the autistic brain, helping different kinds of minds succeed. To me, that is, in a nutshell, helping different kinds of minds succeed is the short or the long title of her book. That's pretty much what she means to me, is in terms of her work. She is always emphasizing we need different types of minds. In a lot of her talks, she talks about Silicon Valley and the need for employers to reach out to the autism community for our unique ways of thinking.
Yeah, that's a nice segue. I was going to ask you about, you have a master's degree in disability studies from York. Your thesis was called Barriers to Rewarding Work, Employment Issues Among People on the Autism Spectrum. And I know the barriers must be many. Can you just talk about a couple of the major barriers that autistic people might have in terms of the employment market, either from prospective employees or ones that they just, I don't know, have challenges negotiating themselves?
Okay, well, it is important to mention that, of course, autism is a spectrum ranging from severe to mild. As I don't think it's a surprise, am on the mild end of the spectrum. That, however, that doesn't mean that my struggles have been mild. It just means that I'm able, with the right support, to do typical things like drive a car, go to university, go places independently, whereas people on the severe end may need more supervision in their life. Now, with regard to the challenges in employment, so having that said, people on the more severe end may be able to participate in employment with supervision, with a job coach shadowing them. Those on the milder end of the spectrum, such as myself, the challenge is less apparent, right? So those who do disclose, there's many people on the spectrum who don't disclose they have a disability because it's invisible. So because it's invisible, and I am able to pass for normal, as I know is one of the questions you wanted to touch on, to pass or to socially camouflage, or I think that was the word.
The term you used was mask.
Mask, right? So that's something I used to do when I was younger, when I was ashamed of being on the spectrum, and I would keep it a secret, and I would go to many different interviews and not hear back. Even though I had an excellent job experience. So the common experience, including the experience that I had, is to struggle with job interviews and the job application process. That is because of the challenges that is faced in the interview, coming across as awkward. Now I could make light of it, and I feel I'm less awkward, but I don't have to feel bad about being awkward, because your approach, Joe's approach to interviewing, is completely compatible with the autism-friendly approach, which is to give the interviewee lots of time and not throw confusing questions at me or scenario questions, which are hard. I think there was a great article that I had shared with you, Joe, by I had originally referred to someone named Christina Holmans, but I had misspelled her name. It's Krista Holmans. and it's something along the lines as an autistic hiring manager shares some advice. We could share the resource after. And in that article that you saw, Krista Holmans, who is on the spectrum and is a hiring manager, and she also has a blog or something like that called the Neuro-Diversity Rebel, and does a whole bunch of videos online. So that is something we could share. In that article from last year, she talks about the challenges, but also the recommendations for employers how to make interviews autism friendly. I don't know if you want to pull it up quickly if you have it in front of you, but it's an excellent, you saw the article, and it gives like all the ideas.
Yeah, pulling it up would be too complex for me right now. But so that's from one end. But if I'm an employer, what qualities would somebody with, here I am, a person with autism, with an autistic person, bring to the job that would stand me in good stead as an employer? Like, why would I want to hire especially autistic people?
Well, again, as Temple Grandin is one of the most well-known advocates for hiring individuals on the spectrum, she's always talking about the unique talents. I'm mentioning Temple because she does a lot of writing about that. And for those who may not know, Temple Grandin is autistic and is 73 or 74 years old. Anyway,
she always wears that little Western bolo thing.
But not to get too off topic. So Temple Grandin and others, they talk about the skills such as, like, Albert Einstein was thought to be on the spectrum. So many of the best researchers or scientists and inventors are thought to have been, it's not for sure, but are thought to have been on the mild end of the spectrum. And Temple Grandin is always talking about those things because she says that people on the spectrum notice things, meaning an eye for detail, right? There's a tendency to have an eye for detail, to be good, very accurate, very punctual, a tendency to be very honest, sometimes too honest, but very honest, hardworking, punctual, thorough, very thorough, and good at technical stuff, good at knowing how to fix technical issues. An eye for detail means good at editing, good at being very thorough. There, in the computer field, in particular, computer programming is one of the things that, and coding. There are so many types of work, in science, computers, art, many artists are on the spectrum. I mean, there's a long list, and there's so many things, inventors in particular.
So one last question for you, and then maybe I'll hand it back to Steve and he can open it up to the floor. You said in the video that we saw, and we talked about it as well, as a coach, as a self-advocacy coach, one of the things that you do and that you really want to do is help autistic people, and I put this in air quotes, find their voice. Can you explain what that is and why that's important?
Okay, well, thank you. That is a very important topic to me. So just to give some context where that topic came from, my revised, most recent vision, or I should say perfected vision statement that I recently came up with a few months ago, is empower for my business, empowering individuals to find and use their voice to advocate for their needs and wants. that to me, so finding one voice is not all people on the spectrum are able to speak. There are some who have lots to say, who are non-speaking individuals. One example is Carly Fleischman, who has written a book. I'm forgetting the name. Carly, who's written a book with her dad, and looks like you're on it. There are individuals who are on the spectrum, whether they speak or not, who are able to write or communicate through augmented communication, different ways of communicating. The idea behind that is that everybody, no matter where one is on the spectrum, even those on the more severe end of the spectrum, has a voice. And that means unique perspectives. There is a saying in the Autism Pride movement, nothing about us without us. And the idea behind that is the official slogan of the Autism Pride movement. And that idea is that everything, all the services and everything designed for the autism community should involve the perspectives and should be designed, and people on the spectrum should always be consulted. So there's a lot on that topic.
You know, this, every time I speak to you, you know, I learn something, and you know, that's part of, I think that's part of whatever kind of diversity, you know, we want to look at. You know, it's a matter of really listening, you know, like to hearing what people have to say, and you know, certainly neurodiversity is so important, and Todd, you're really making a difference, you know, in the work you do. If you take a look at the number of people you've reached, even just tonight, you know, the number of people you've talked to. And so I personally want to thank you. I want to thank you for coming. And I'm going to turn it over to Steve, who can maybe take some questions. I know Terry's been nodding his head a lot. So.
All right.
Can I show this? This is John Elder Robeson. He is also a proponent of neurodiversity. And he wrote, I don't know if anyone can see that.
Oh, nice.
Geeks Rock. Geeks Rock.
Oh, Geeks Rock.
Yes, he's on the spectrum, and he's a big proponent of neurodiversity as well. I just wanted to make sure I shared another very big proponent.
There you go.
Who was,
well, Temple, you know, I think I told you this. I was lucky enough in my previous life to meet Temple a couple of times, and she was just incredible. So anyway, Steve, I'm going to pass it back to you.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that wonderful, I can't believe how fast the time flew. Wow.
It always does.
Fly.
Thank you, Joe.
Well,
you're welcome. Thank you.
Todd, that was excellent, Todd. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you know, before we take questions here, we got time for a couple. I've had the pleasure of working with someone on and off who is what I guess is fairly high functioning on the spectrum, and he's a network guy. Keith, you'll know this. He's a 3 times CCIE, which is pretty high certification in the network field. Like there aren't very many of them. And that dude sees networks and understands networks better than anyone. When things are going bad, you want him and his focus on the network. So, and he's an independent contractor out on his own, making his own way. It's fantastic. All right, with that, does anyone have any questions? Wayne, over to you.
Yes, Todd, where would the Asperger syndrome be on the autism spectrum?
Great question. Great question, Wayne. Asperger syndrome technically is, we don't exist anymore because the Diagnostic Statistical Manual Mental Disorders, DSM, took it out in 2013. However, it's a joke that we make when we don't exist. Of course, we exist. I have Asperger's, but they took it out of the criteria because they thought it was too confusing and it was very controversial. However, many of us diagnosed with Asperger's still like to refer to Asperger's, even though they took it out as an official label. So yes, it is on the most mild end of the spectrum. And well, as it says here, I'm not sure if you could see it. Can everyone see that where it says My Life with Asperger's? So John Elder Robison was written, this is a New York Times bestseller, identifies as a person living with Asperger's, who is a big proponent of neurodiversity, and there are many others. John Elder Robison is probably one of the most famous. Temple Grandin, it's debatable whether she has Asperger's. She may have a more severe form known as high functioning autism, which is slightly below, but very similar. So I hope that answers your question.
Well, thanks for that, Todd, and good question, Wayne. All right. Well, not seeing hands up. Todd, listen, we can't thank you enough for helping to educate us, sharing the message, and thank you for being such a fantastic advocate. We know more and more people now, thanks to this work, that are out doing things and being a real important part of our community that are on the spectrum, and they're just people, right?
Yes.
Right? Like
just people.
They're people.
I think Terry has a question. I think.
Oh, okay, Terry.
It's not as much of a question as I just wanted to thank Todd for bringing his view to a voice out there. I was one of the more, I would say, unfortunate people that didn't get diagnosed till my late 30s. So I went through a lot of life without knowing I was Asperger's, which of course I don't use the term anymore myself, more because of the controversial part of it. And that's, I'm glad you handled it the way you did for that.
Excellent.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Terry. And Terry, by the way, feel free to reach out to me if you, maybe through Joe, maybe Joe would be a good one to connect us.
Yeah,
if you want to shoot me an email, but Joe was probably the one who could do that. I'd be happy to get to correspond with you in the future, and anybody else could shoot me an email. You could probably ask Joe for my email.
Yeah, I sent out
Thank you,
all
Terry.
Todd's links today. I sent his or did I? No, I didn't send your email. I can do that.
Oh
as
yeah,
well,
I'm
if you
happy.
don't
The
mind.
more the merrier.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much, Todd, for taking time with us today. Joe, thank you for arranging. And Todd, you're more than welcome to hang out with us for the rest of the meeting. We've got a couple of interesting things going on here. Or, if you're busy and you got stuff going on, it's okay to drop in. It won't hurt our feelings at all.
Well, I'm happy. It depends. Is the meeting until like 2 in the morning or something? I'm just kidding.
Just another 20 minutes or so.
Oh, 20 minutes is fine. 20
all
minutes
right.
is nothing. Thank you so much. It's such a, I was a little bit nervous, but it just flew by. And I just want to say to Joe, thank you for the option of having an interview. So that was very, very well,
My pleasure.
done.
My pleasure. And Todd, I think Steve had, we have made a donation on your behalf to Autism Home Base. So wanted to let you know that.
Yep. All right, Joe stealing my
Thank
thunder.
you.
Thank you, Joe.
I'm sorry, Steve.
All right. All right. Well, with that, it was our pleasure to make that donation, Todd. We appreciate your time, and it couldn't go to a better cause.
Thank you. I'll mute now, right? I'll
With
mute.
that, we'll move on to Happy Bucks. Anyone got any good news? Pauline, I said you were apologizing for missing a birthday. Do you want to start with that?
Yeah, I think the president should be sacking the secretary. I need to remember that there's two sides to a piece of paper, because on this side, it tells me Wayne Routley has a birthday tomorrow.
Excellent.
So happy birthday, Wayne. Sorry for missing you.
He wasn't on the call when you did it, so you could have just kind of got by. Excellent. Amy, you had your hands up.
I did. First, I apologize for missing the membership meeting this afternoon, but I was taken away. Today is actually my mother and father-in-law's 60th wedding anniversary.
Oh my.
So Len and I went up to Coburg to at least drop off some stuff. We couldn't go in the house, but yeah, 60 years ago today, my Mary and Elmer Barney were married. And so I will add 60 to my growing tab of Happy Bucks. So
fantastic. Any other good news out there, folks? Any other hands raised? Hey, how about you, Roy Snow?
I just want to say thank you to everyone for sending emails of get wells and best wishes. So thank you very much. I'm on the mend and I'm feeling much better. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Joe.
Yeah. I have a few Happy Bucks. I'm going to say 5 Happy Bucks. If it would have been a flock, maybe it would have been more, but the herons are back. As you know, I like to go look at birds and take pictures of them. And I was really excited to see the first herons down at the marsh, both at Darlington, the Darlington new plant, and down here on our waterfront, which is a sign of spring and a sign of hope. For me, it's a sign of hope. I also saw a cormorant yesterday, which was wonderful, and read today that if we keep going the way we are with vaccines, because we're really doing well, things could open up by July, which really made me feel good. Amidst all the horror that's happening, there is that light at the end of the tunnel, which is wonderful.
Excellent. Okay. Keith, I saw your hand.
Yeah, I'll give 20 Happy Bucks to Ellie, or for Ellie, for leading the shopping program. I thought she did an amazing job and just wanted to thank her.
Great. That's really nice, Keith. Okay. Phil, you're waving your hand.
I am. Sorry, I'm just trying to run out some numbers really quickly here, which don't seem to be working out. So, as most of you had probably seen my spam in the past with regards to the presentation we had back on March 28th about a Beautiful World Canada organization with Prosi Togo and so forth, about the education of young girls in the sub-Saharan area. I had put together, well, to say that I was moved by that presentation was a little bit of an understatement. So at that point, I decided to make a donation to them of about $1,000. But on top of that, I decided to put together a GoFundMe, which I had never done before, just to see if I could, in any way use the power of social media to try to gain some funds towards that. And lo and behold, through the generosity of friends and family and Rotarians as well, we raised in total $1,750, which was really good considering that, $1,800 sends a girl to school for 1 year. Now, given that I'm a pretty firm believer in the whole if you don't ask, you don't receive mindset, I put another email together a few days ago to directors of a certain bunch of committees within Rotary, as well as the board of directors, and sent it out just asking, if by chance there was any possibility to match that donation so that we could send 2 girls to school. And 5 minutes before this meeting, I got an email from Lyle from the Community Service Committee offering to match that plus $50 and an extra $1,800. So that puts us up to a total of $5,400 raised for this organization that has a fairly amazing story to tell. So on top of that, with what we know Rotary is committed already this year, which is $1,800, hopefully over the next 3 years, as well as Don Gleed and his wife had donated $1,800. That puts us up to, as an entire organization, to, if I can have my calculator do this properly, because I can't think about it too much.
36. Well, you're talking.
Let's look here.
$7 grand.
I keep pressing the wrong button. It keeps telling me 38 million, but that's definitely not the right thing here. So
Yeah,
that puts us up
that's
to
not our budget.
Yeah. So that puts us up, I think, as an organization to a donation of $12,600. So that is a very significant deal. So I'm quite happy and appreciative that everybody came to the table for that. So thank you.
Excellent. That's fantastic news. Well done to everyone.
That is
Phil,
fantastic. That's awesome.
so good. All right. Moving on. I guess I've got a little happy. I don't know if it's happy or sad, but it's good timing. I'm heading back to Vegas pretty darn soon. The timing will be good for the end of my Rotary year as president, but I got 2 more years looking at me in Vegas now. So with that, moving on to one of my favorite types of segments, we've got another Know Your Rotarian moment. This week we've got Jason Van Stiphout and Jennifer Foley, who are going to tell us about each other. Over to you guys.
Well, there
what's
he
that?
is. Hey.
So funny enough, the funny part, we're both realtors. We're both in the club.
The Realtor Club.
As realtors, we all drink. That's one commonality that we all do. It's at the end of our day, our wits are done as well. And it's funny because, again, as realtors, we don't have a lot of hobbies because there's not a lot of time. It's, you know, it's trying to get up and do those daily things every day, but it seems like a Groundhog Day every day for us, for me anyways too. But with Jen, so again, known her for years too, but the new thing that she's trying to do is the old-fashioned roller skating. So she's taking her daughter Olivia and zipping down to the Grandview parking lot, and where she's self-teaching her and her daughter how to. She wants to start doing some boogie nights on roller skates. It's so that's kind of fun. Again, because it's COVID, trying to figure out something different to do. So the one thing that I honestly didn't know, that she has 2 kids. So one's at 25, so you must have been like 12 when you had a baby, but anyways, and then her 8-year-old Olivia, which everyone gets to see on the screen. So she spends lots of time trying to be the teacher, run a business, and be a mom. So COVID is one of those things that, you know, tends to keep us away from doing the things that we want to do and everything else. She's been in real estate for 17 years already in business. And it's funny, just something else that we both love doing, but she loves cooking. She's not just the traditional Canadian style food. She's more into cooking internationals. If it's Italian night, she makes a mean lasagna. Loves doing her Indian and Pakistani dishes, and her go-to for that, doing butter chicken. And again, she loves an assorted of Asian dishes as well. So another funny thing is she's got 2 rescue dogs, and they're both lab mixes as well. But they're like a couple years old, and they're Cooper and Diesel. And then she has a cat, and I apologize, I did not ask the cat's name.
Katie.
What is it?
Katie.
Sadie. Perfect. It's so it's just kind of funny how, except for the children, our lives are kind of, it's real estate, it's work, it's food, it's cooking, entertaining, and our puppies.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, so this process was a lot like dating. Felt like it anyways. So getting to know somebody. So Jason and I have known each other. I mean, before Jason started in real estate, he actually came into the brokerage that I worked in. So we had met long before Jason started. Can you turn that off, please? And yeah, so Jason's been in real estate about 16 years. He's been very successful in his career. And Jason's often very busy and preoccupied. And you know, he has a little country retreat in Clarington that gives him some downtime. But I think that Jason would like to spend a little more time doing things that he likes to do versus just all work. I think Jason needs a little more play, right? Maybe go fishing. So Jason's looking into buying a cottage property. So he's looking to get a property that's about an hour away from here. And hopefully that'll be his retirement plan, if not maybe sooner plan. And he really, his goal is to wake up and be able to look at a body of water every morning and to go boating. Even though he's got fish on his own property, he doesn't get the opportunity to do that, and his preference is lake fishing. So if he gets this cottage property, that'll help make one of those dreams come true, that he has a goal. He too spends a lot of time in his kitchen. I'm sure he's cooking up some great gourmet meals for his fiance. And so he loves to entertain. So when he's not out selling real estate, then he's spending every minute he can there with his two dogs and his fiance. And his dogs' names are Max and Bowie. And what else can I say? Yeah. Did I miss anything, Jason?
No, that's about it. I have a pretty boring life. It's work and sleep and repeat. So.
Yeah, that's it. Does anybody have any questions for us?
That was really good. Really good. Sure, Wayne's got a question. Go ahead, Wayne.
Questions so much, but just to share this, I understand, Jason, that there's a train station for sale in Perry Sound. I don't know whether you want to consider that or not, but it might be an option.
That might be the next step. I need something that's an hour away first. It's
okay. There you go. I just thought I'd offer that for you.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Excellent. Joe?
Yeah, I always have a question.
Joe.
So what's been happening with COVID in real estate? You know, has it been crazy for you guys, and are prices going nuts out here?
Prices are going crazy. And it hasn't stopped. Like my phone rings 7:24. It's and again, we are getting more and more people coming from the West End coming here, and you know, so they're selling their houses for a lot more money, and you know, so that's what's starting the multiple bids, and they're able to throw big money down. And that's it's pushing some of the people that can't now afford to buy what you could buy 6 months ago. So the prices are just silly. It's and I've Gordon Wallace trying to call me right now too.
Right. Yeah, of course it is, because you're not talking or anything.
But no, Joe, it's crazy. It's been busy. Like this has been one of my busiest years so far. Again, like it does not stop. It's a good and a bad thing all at the same time. So but yeah, it's a good thing to have at the same time, Joe.
Excellent. Well, that was another great Know Your Rotarian moment. So we're down to, I think, announcements. We were going to have a community report, but we had a feeling that things weren't going to work out. So Linda Mays is going to give us that community report on another day. A couple of announcements. You'll see in the weekly message from our district governor. Still want to sign up for the district conference. Has anyone done that yet? You know, John, of course you have, but Fred, you have any other hands up? Anyone that's been meaning to that hasn't? Like that's me. Let's make sure we get in there. It should be pretty good, and it's only 4 hours out of a morning. And remember, I'm looking for ideas. Jen Foley, sorry, not Jen Foley, the other Jen, Jen Turner, sent me a couple of ideas after the last meeting. We'd like to, if we're going to be allowed to, have an event that afternoon. I think it's the 25th of June. Something where we do, we're out seen doing something in the community. Give your head a bit of a scratch and send me a note if you've got ideas, okay? And we're going to submit them to district. Next thing, announcement, a little bit covered off earlier. Well done to Phil and his family for doing some cleanup last weekend, to Leanna and her family for doing some cleanup. I got out there early one morning and did some. So listen, between us, we're a couple of, let me just hang up here. We've got a Teams call coming through. It never stops on the West Coast. We're close to 200 pounds worth of trash picked up. So that's awesome. And Joe and Rachel are going to be standing up Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. You saw a note come out a couple of weeks ago, or sorry, just a few days ago. Joe, do you have anything to add to that, or Rachel?
I think Rachel will carry the ball here.
Yeah, I was just going to extend the invite to, we have a couple people interested, which is wonderful. Monday, we are going to have our first Zoom call to talk about the diversity, equity, and inclusion team that we've got together. I think many of us saw the call with Dr. Todd Jenkins' bow tie. One of the things he said that really struck me was, you know, everyone wearing shoes that fit. You know, you don't just give someone a pair of shoes. And we want all our new members or members that join the club to make sure that they are wearing shoes that fit and they are feeling included. And so I think we're already doing a pretty good job at that. But we encourage anyone that wants to come out to the meeting on Monday to send Joe or me a message, and we'll send you the Zoom link.
Yeah, and there's a great, by the way, if you pick up the Rotary magazine, which I really like reading, there's a really good spread about diversity, equity, and inclusion in Rotary and how to make it part of your own club and why. Anyway, that's a really good piece. So if anyone hasn't read it, you should.
And John.
Yeah, it's just a quickie. Do we have 2 people in the club qualified for the grant applications?
Not requalified, no. Joe and Ellie have both done it, but you need to requalify. So we may not have that yet, John. Okay.
Okay.
I can remark on that. I know that Linda Mays is going to be taking some qualification for that. Is there something coming up online soon? Because she told me that she was going to be doing that in the next week or so.
Yeah, there is. The other point I was going to make is I've already had a couple of emails from some of you guys asking me if I could be on your committees this coming year. I think I'm going to have enough on my plate with some of the other things I'm going to have to do. But I'm happy that anytime I can manage to come on your committees, if you're happy with that, I'll come on them. Okay.
Thank you, John. That's fair. Okay, and with that, I think we're down to our quote of the week. Leanna.
Hi. Because it was birthday month, I thought I'd choose a John Muir quote, and he's known as the John of Mountain, or the father of the national parks. He was an early advocate for the preservation of wilderness in the United States. And the quote is, "Of all the roads you take in life, make sure a few of them are dirt."
I like it. Thank you, Leanna. Thank you. All right. Well, if there's nothing else for the good of Rotary, remembering the things that we say and we do are 4-way tests. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? With that, have a great evening and a fantastic weekend. We're almost there, folks.
Enjoy the weekend, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Good meeting.
Good meeting.
Good night. Thanks again, Todd.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for having me.
much. That was a really fast hour. It must mean I had an amazing time. Time flies when you have fun. So thank
Thanks
you
again,
to
Todd.
Joe and thank you to everyone.
Thank you for
So,
being here.
Good meeting you.
It was
learned a lot.
a wonderful
Thank you.
experience. Thank you.
We'll speak again.
Ryan,
Take
it was
care.
great to see you.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks again for having me.
Night.
Appreciate the invite.
I'll probably see
Anytime.
you.
Again.
I'll probably see you at the Port Hope
Anytime.
meeting.
Okay. Good night.
Todd,
I'll
you
be
should
at-
look into a
I'll be at
Rotary
the
Club
next
in
one.
Toronto. They got lots of them there. They'd love to have you.